Hi everyone, welcome to or welcome back to my channel, So Little Time, and my name is Karen. So I feel like I've been vacant for ages from my channel, so it's nice to be back. I feel a little bit out of practice, so I do apologise if I'm a little bit in and ahhing as I talk. Yeah, so I've been really busy. I've had a 2-week holiday in Cornwall in the UK at the start of the 6 weeks holiday for the children in the UK, and that was absolutely marvellous. We had beautiful weather, only 1 day of rain out of the whole 2 weeks, and where we stayed it was really nice and just had a really nice family holiday. And then whilst I was away I did turn 40 on our last day there, so I did try and get the packing done like a couple of days before, so I wasn't spending our last day packing on my birthday. There'd just be nothing worse. So had a nice meal out and I spent the morning on the beach, had some lovely presents and things, and then I also had my birthday party, which was a couple of weeks ago now, and that seems like it's flown by. I actually had a hot tub party, so I invited all my girlfriends round and we just had an afternoon going into the evening celebration, you know, with food and drink and just messing about in the hot tub really. So I booted my husband and my children out for the weekend just so I could have the house to myself, and it was just such a brilliant party. I really do recommend hot tub. It was just a blast, and everybody who came, you know, who said they were coming came, and everybody was drinking, so there was no drivers, so it was just a really good party. And me and my auntie, we were one of the last ones standing, so we had a marvellous time. There's lots and lots of photos and video footage that I'll treasure forever, so I'll pop in a few pictures actually of the party just so you can see how much fun it was. Okay, so with my sewing then, I have managed to get quite a bit made. I've got I think I've made 6 items this sort of month or so, and I've got 5 I think to show you. One that I can't show you because it was a present for somebody, so I'll insert photos of that one when I come to talk about it. So the first thing then that I want to show you, because I want to get out of it because I'm really hot, is this top, and it is the Molly top by Sew Over It. Now I had some leftover fabric which I'd used for my mum's Coco, and it's a Ponte Roma fabric which I got from Crafty Sew and Sew in Leicester. I don't think they still have it, it was a while ago. It's not probably the best fabric to use for the Molly top because I do think that needs sort of more of a drapey jersey, and I have found that because I've used a Ponte, the fit isn't great. Now I went with the size 8, which is the smallest size that they do, and in a drapier jersey I do think that would be the right size for me, but because this hasn't got masses of stretch, I've used a 3/8 of an inch seam allowance just down the side seams and down the arms. I do actually find the arms quite tight, so I probably should have maybe even used a smaller seam allowance on that or something, and maybe gone up a size in the top, but I'm not keen actually on this top at all, and I don't think I'm going to keep it. I think it'll be going to the charity shop, just because I just prefer my Coco tops that I make. They're just perfect for my shape. I find them really comfortable. I've had a bit of an issue with the neckband on this one, and I think it is because of the fabric. Because I've done the measurement that I always do, which is 70% of the neckline plus 10 centimetres, and that usually works for all neckbands that I do on my tops, but on this particular one it hasn't worked, and I'll show you why. When I sort of get it on normally, it sits prominent at the top here, it reeves up, and it just, if I can move my hair out of the way, you'll see it sticks up a bit there. And I've not done anything different to what I usually do, so I think it is the fabric choice. And obviously this has grown on sleeves, so there's a seam line here where you can play around with having contrast in fabric and that kind of thing. And I don't like the effect that gives here. So it gives that ruching effect of excess fabric, and I like to have either a raglan sleeve or a set-in sleeve on a jersey, just because it sits nicer on me. I don't have that extra fabric there. I do quite like the length of the top. I haven't had to lengthen this at all, I don't think. I'm pretty sure I didn't. If I have, I'll put that along the bottom of the screen, but I'm pretty sure this is the length it's supposed to be. So I'll stand back so you can see it. Okay, so it's got the high-low hem here, and so it scoops down quite nicely, and it does come down quite low on my bum, so I do quite like the length of the top, and it's got a nice shape as well, so the shape is nice. But yeah, I just think this top, it's just not for me. It's very warm as well, probably the wrong time of year to be wearing it, that's for sure. I'm glad I've tried it out. I don't know if I will make the Molly top again, just because, like I say, I like my Coco tops mainly, but it's one that I've crossed off my Make 9 list. Yeah, so overall, my experience of the Molly is that it's really straightforward to sew, would suit a beginner for sure. The instructions are clear, but yeah, it's not one for me. I'm not going to be repeating it, I don't think, so I won't even make the dress either. So I shall go on to my next make then, so I'll be back in a moment. Okay, so the next make is the Tilly and the Buttons Coco dress, and you'll see that it is exactly the same as what I've made previously, and that's because I've now made it again in the size 3, but I've added 2 inches to the length at the base of the hem, and that's it. So I haven't added any length to the length and shorten lines. I put it back to how it was. So it's the standard size 3, just with those 2 inches added at the bottom, and that has made all the difference to the fit of this dress. I have to say, I did wear the other dress, I think it was for one day, just to see how I got on with it, because I had lost a little bit of weight whilst I was marathon training, and it was okay, but I did find it was still reeving up a little bit, where it was still a little bit on the tight side, so it was starting to reeve up at the bottom, so it wasn't then at the length that I wanted it. So I've now given that away to my friend, who is much smaller in the hip area than me, and she's told me that it fits her fine, so I'm glad that it's been rehomed. So I've received the same fabric from Rachel at the French seam, so again, thank you ever so much. And it's enabled me to make the dress again, and I'll stand back so you can just see that the fit is so much better on me. Okay, so you'll see it just takes away that area here that was pulling like this, so it just fits absolutely fine, and it's you know, there's no excess at the back or anything like that. I've just added those 2 inches at the length, and to be honest, it doesn't make that much difference at the width, you know, because it is quite A-line. It doesn't go out too far, so it still looks absolutely fine, and I will wear this for nights out and things like that, for dinner or something. So I shall then go on to get changed into my next make, back in a moment. Okay, so I'm wearing my next 2 makes actually. So the first one is the Grainline Willow tank, and I've used a I think it's like a linen fabric. Now I've got it here to show you, just so you can see that it is really, really see-through. So you'll see if I hold it up, don't know if you can see that that's really see-through, but take my word for it, it really is. I wouldn't have been able to have worn it without lining it, that's for sure. So I then decided to line it. So the Grainline Willow, it has bias-bound neckline and bias-bound armholes, and then a very deep hem. So I think it's like a bit like a 2-inch fold for the hem. Now what I did was I lined it, and I didn't actually have any lining fabric or anything suitable to put underneath it at home, so I went online to see what I could find, just because I didn't have time to go into town to the fabric shops and that kind of thing, and I was looking for like a plain cotton lawn, maybe a cream or a white one, but I couldn't find anything where I wasn't going to be paying extortionate postage to make it cost a fortune. I didn't really need a lot, so I didn't want to pay loads. So I found this site, I can't remember the name of the website now where I got it from, but I'll put it across the bottom of the screen, and I bought this. It said it was cotton lawn, but look how see-through this is. I'm sure you can see me through it, yes? And I thought, gosh, that's so sheer, to the point that when I washed it and I pulled it out of the washing machine, I thought it had ripped, because it was all kind of wrangled round itself. And I put it on the washing line. It was very frayy, look at that. So I wouldn't recommend this fabric at all, and it was horrible to sew and work with. It does crease, so you can iron it, you know, a crease line in it, but it just was awful. But it's worked okay for having it underneath this top because it has made it opaque, so you cannot see. I've actually got a blue bra on, so you can't see that I have a blue bra on underneath. In the end, what I did was actually made 2 tops. So I made it out of the outer fabric and the inner fabric, and it has bust darts, you can see here. Now, this was, because this fabric was quite sheer, what I decided to do was kind of attach them together at the neckline, and then I was going to do it like the all-in-one burrito method for an all-in-one facing, but I couldn't do that because this fabric was so sheer. I just didn't think it would cope around the armholes, so I actually decided to bias bind the armholes as it instructs in the pattern itself, but I didn't have any ready-made, so I used this fabric, the outer fabric, to make my own, and that worked quite well. So if I turn it round, I've just literally, you can see it's on the diagonal, which I think looks quite nice around there. So I'm really pleased with how the top has turned out, and I made 2 toiles for this top. I mean, it's such a basic pattern, but I wanted to get the fit right because I wanted to shorten it to wear with my Tilling the Buttons Miette skirt, which I've got on, so I'll show you that in a moment. So I've actually made notes of the changes I've made on this pattern, so I'll just get those out. Okay, so popped on here the fabric that I used, and then what I've done is I've made a size 2, and I found when I made my toile and used the standard, I think it's 1/2 inch seam allowance that they use, it was a little bit tight around here and around my bust, especially my high bust area. It was very tight. So it's kind of reeving up a bit and then giving in that effect of where the top would be going out. So I decided to try again in the size 2 again, but I just used 3/8 of an inch seam allowance down the side seams. So I used 1/2 inch for the shoulder seams, and it was just purely for the side seams that I used 3/8 of an inch, and that solved the fit problem. And then I took 3 inches off the shorten, lengthen line section to crop the top to make it a lot shorter because I wanted it to sit a lot higher. And then for the actual the hem allowance, I think it's about 2 inches that they allow you to fold it, and I think I've done it slightly more. Yeah, so I've done it 3 inches, a 3-inch hem. So I overlocked the edge of the fabric and then literally folded it up 3 inches and then stitched it. I've actually stitched it along one of the white stripes, so you can't see the stitching line at all, which is quite nice because I didn't really want to have that visible stitching line. So I'll stand back so you can see the length that it's sitting at, and then you'll be able to see my Miette skirt as well. Okay, so it sits sort of just here, near sort of my natural waist is there, so it sits probably about, I don't know, 1 inch or 1/2 inch below it, and this is my Miette skirt. So this is the Robert Kaufman chambray dot fabric, and I've just top stitched along the pocket there with a decorative stitch, and this fabric is beautiful. So I'll stand back so you can see it in its full thing. So it's a double wrap skirt. So really, really happy with the combo, with the stripes and the dots, and spots rather, and this fabric for the Miette skirt, it's just absolutely beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful quality, should I say, which you'd expect from a Robert Kaufman fabric. So I can't remember where I got this striped fabric from now. It might have been, I think it might have been Fabric Godmother, but don't quote me on that because I really can't remember where I got it from. But I know Adele of Button and Pip has recently bought a striped fabric in a mauve kind of colour, which I think she got from Abercan, and she complained about the fact that it was very see-through as well, which she was considering making for the Stevie hack-off that she's recently done. So she didn't use it in the end, but yeah, maybe she should line it with some of this lovely cheap fabric, because this was only £2.99 a metre. So I can't really complain that the quality is rubbish, because I did kind of, I suppose, you know, you get what you pay for, don't you? So £2.99 for that, and it's not very high quality. And then the Robert Kaufman, which is usually quite expensive, is absolutely beautiful. It's worn well. I've worn it quite a few times. It's gone through the wash fine. It's very soft. It doesn't really crease when I'm wearing it, it's absolutely beautiful. So I'm really, really pleased with the Miette skirt. And that came together absolutely fine. I made my standard size 4 for that one. No other changes. So that fits really nicely. Yes, so that's those mates. So I'm going to get dressed into my last mate for me, and then I'll talk to you about what I made for my friend for her birthday. Okay, so my next make then is the Tilling the Buttons Bettine dress, and I've used this mustard double gauze fabric, and I purchased this from Minerva Crafts, or who are now known as Minerva, should I say. And I'm really, really happy with this make actually. I know a lot of people do rave about double gauze fabric, and I do find it is really nice, soft sort of texture and really nice to work with, but I do find it does make the garment slightly more blousy, very soft and drapey. So if you're looking for something with a little bit more structure, even though it's a double layer kind of fabric, it is really, really soft, and it does mould to your body really nicely. But I have found that with wear, it makes things feel a little bit baggy. So if it's got some ease in it, just take that into consideration, because it does make a difference. Now, for Tilling the Buttons patterns, like I've said before, for her woven patterns, I always use a size 4, and for the jersey, I always use size 3. Now, I know Tamlin of Sewn on the Tyne has recently made a Bettine as well, because she picked up the pattern in the pattern swap, which was cut out at a size 4 already. So she just went ahead and sewed that, and then she found that it was quite tight around the bum area. And I will say exactly the same about this pattern, that it comes up smaller than you would expect, like her other size, you know, the other sizes that you would have made from previous Tilling the Buttons patterns. This comes up smaller. So I still cut out a size 4 because I did make a toile a few years ago and that fitted okay, but I did shave off the hip curve, and I have done that for this one. Now, the other change that I have made is I've straightened out the bottom of the skirt section, because it does come in like a bit like a tulip shape. So I've just sort of A-lined it very slightly at the bottom, and then I've taken that hip curve off as well. So I just kind of freehand drew down the side of my pattern piece and just sort of gauged roughly how much I was going to take off, which wasn't loads, probably only, I don't know, maybe a centimetre off each side. And then I did a toile of the skirt, tried that on, and just made sure that it fitted my hips okay, with enough ease in there for me to sit down, and then went ahead and cut it out of my official fabric. So this is the size 4, like I say, and I decided to use 3/8 of an inch seam allowance rather than the 5/8 of an inch. I have used 5/8 of an inch across the top of the shoulders. It is literally just down the sides, so down the sides of the skirt and down the sides of the bodice and under the arms. I've used 3/8 of an inch just because I wanted to have a little bit more ease in there, obviously because I found this pattern came up quite small, and I knew in the sort of autumn winter months I wanted to layer it to put a top underneath it. And I will insert some photos. Now, they're not great photos. I took them when I was trying it on one evening, just to see what it would look like layered. So I'll insert them anyway, but they are a bit fuzzy. Just of ones where I've put, I think I put a Coco top underneath it, a ready-to-wear Bowden top underneath it, and I think I had a ready-to-wear stripy top from H&M underneath it, just so I could see how it would look with different coloured striped sort of tops underneath. So I knew that's how I wanted to layer it, and I did try it on with a scarf that I've got as well, and a bag across me. So yeah, just, you know, testing out my look. But it does look really good layered, so I definitely recommend this dress for layering, so you can see it through from, you know, the summer through to the autumn, winter, spring, all year round. It will serve you. So anyway, I'll stand back so you can see. I think the only other change I will probably make in the future is where you insert the elastic. I think it's 1/2 inch elastic, and I think I would like to try a slightly larger size, just because I found this one has started to twist, which I find really annoying. And I do find that, you know, I think I've heard that you can sew around the elastic to keep it flat in the casing. And you can buy anti-roll elastic, I think, as well. Whether that works, I don't know. But yeah, this it is a really lovely fabric. I'm really pleased with the colour. The spots are printed on and they haven't come off in the wash and they haven't rubbed off. So I think they are there to stay, fingers crossed, they're okay. Anyway, so I'll stand back. So I went with the pocket option. So I've got the pockets in and then you've got the elastic casing here. Yeah, so I've just shaved off that hip area there, literally there. And then at the bottom, I've just A-lined it slightly, just so it's a bit more straighter of the skirt. Comes to knee length, and that's got a double fold hem. Yeah. So really pleased with that. Fits lovely. So the only thing I would say, because like I said, this double gauze just does have a lot of movement in it and a lot of ease in it as you're wearing it. I found that the neckline is slightly gapey, so when I bend over I do kind of flash a little bit, which isn't great, but obviously when you're wearing a top underneath it, that's not a problem. And I think it is because of the fabric being so, you know, drapey and stuff. Now I've got another one cut out, which I am making. I've gone straight on to making another one as this one's been so successful. And I picked up this fabric from Rachel of Stitched Up. She had a D-stash and I bought this fabric from her. So I think it's just a standard cotton with these lovely spots on a black background. But it is very, very structured. There is a little bit of ease, if you can see there, on the horizontal grain. I don't know. So I will see how it comes out. It might be that it might feel a little bit tighter on me because it's not going to have as a generous amount of movement in it like this fabric. But I think it will be a lot more sturdier around the neckline. Now I have interfaced this neckline as per the instructions, but I haven't done that on this version because I don't think it needs it. I always tend to do that. I don't interface when I don't think it's going to need it because I don't like the stiffness that it creates on a stiffer sort of fabric. So I'll see how this one turns out, but I'm excited to see how it makes up in comparison. Yeah, so I think when I sit down in it, it might not be as comfortable, but I definitely wanted a more sturdier one as well because I know you can do it in chambray and things like that. So yes, this is a win. Really happy with this. And when I put my picture on Instagram, I did get loads of feedback on it. So I think it you know, generated a lot of interest. So whether this fabric has been bought by people on Minerva Crafts, I don't know. Oh, Minerva, Minerva, not Minerva Crafts. Yes, so that's everything that I made for me. So the next thing I made was the Tilly and the Buttons Frankie tee for my friend who also turned 40 in June. And I wanted to do a t-shirt like a bit football style where I put her name on the back with a big 40. And I know she's not going to wear it out on the street, but it was more just for fun and I thought she might want to wear it, you know, for lounge wear at home or for bed or something, I don't know. So I bought this gorgeous fabric from Crafty So-and-So. Now I will just grab it actually so you can see it because it's lovely. Okay, so when I went online then to purchase this, I just wanted to get some plain jersey fabric and I knew I wanted a white fabric for the body and a red fabric for the sleeves with the raglan sleeves because I really like having the contrast on there. And I went on to Crafty So-and-So's website just to have a look what jerseys they got. And they got some plain white and plain red, but it was actually called, sorry, I'm out of breath, just ran downstairs. Slub jersey, I think they called it on their website. So they might still have it. And it's a lovely red. It's a bit more of like a corally red, I suppose. If I can bring it into you, if I get it the right way round. So I don't know if you'll be able to see the content of it, but it's like, it's got a very slight grain to it in a way, which I suppose is the slub effect. Now I wasn't sure what to expect because I wasn't sure what slub jersey was, and because I couldn't go into town to go and feel it, I just thought, well, I'm just going to get it. And I only ordered, I think, 1/2 metre of each, which I just managed to squeeze that Frankie tee out of. And that's purely because I didn't lengthen the bodice because my friend is a little bit shorter than me. And also, I think I actually cut it out on the vertical grain. You know, I don't know how you say it, but this has got a 4-way stretch. So this way and this way. So I thought, well, it doesn't really matter which way I cut it out on the fabric. And because I'd only ordered 1/2 metre of each, I did have to, you know, cut it out on the horizontal grain. Sorry, vertical grain, let's get it right. Yes, that worked out fine. And then I ordered some iron-on letters and numbers off eBay, so I'll link those details down below as well, just in case you're interested. And then you just buy, I think it was, you could order up to so many. Yeah, and so I got, my friend's name's Mel, so I only had to order 3 letters and then 2 numbers. So I got those, and I'll insert some photos so you can see. So that is all my makes that I've made so far. I still have my New Look 6446 jumpsuit to do in that lovely viscose fabric. Now I'll just remind you what it looks like. It's like this, and this is one of the strap pieces. I haven't actually made it yet. I don't know why I keep procrastinating it. I think it's because I'm scared that the fit isn't going to be as good as my toile that I made. Yeah, because this has got a lot of drape in it and movement. And again, it needs lining on the bodice. So I do have some other lining fabric here, which I picked this up from Crafty So-and-so for another project. I think it was for my sparkly sequin scout tee that I made at Christmas. So this, again, it's quite sheer, but it's a lot better quality than that, which reminds me of like a very thin muslin that you'd use for a baby. Yeah, so this, I think I've got enough of that to use for the bodice sections, because they do come in pieces, which is quite nice. So I just need to make that up. But yeah, I'm just scared of using, because I think this fabric and that lining, they just don't crease. So when you need to do a crease with the iron, yeah, because that was quite a mission to cut that out as well, to get it all straight and nice. So that, I do need to get on with that. I'm going to get it done, because otherwise I'm not going to be able to wear it. We've only got a few weeks left of the summer, and I'm not going to be able to wear it otherwise, or the weather will change and it'll be cold. And then I am going to be uploading another vlog for, it's called #SewATop, and it's not a challenge or anything like that. It's kind of just for fun, and it's been created by Claire of Penguin and Pear. And a few of us vloggers have decided to join in. Now, Emma of She Loves to Sew, she's on YouTube and on Instagram, if you want to check her out. She contacted me to say that she'd found a top that we could both make together, because I'd admired a top that she'd made for either her daughter or her friend's daughter. And she found this top, and it's this one here. So it's just like a elasticated ruffly bit around the top, some tie straps, and a very floaty section there, which I think is quite a fun top to make. And this one's by My Styled Diary, and I think she's on Etsy, so I bought it off Etsy. And then she's also got a YouTube channel where you follow along. So there isn't actually written instructions on how to make this top up. I mean, I know it is really basic, but I still just need a little bit of a helping hand. It's just, so it's a PDF pattern, and you just piece it together. I think there's only about 10 or 12 pages to piece together for that top. So that's what I'm going to be making. So I'll be bringing that to you very soon, because I think we need to do it by the end of August. So I need to crack on with that. And there I'll be doing my other Bettine dress then. And then I will come back, I think, to say what my plans are for the next month or so, and show you some fabrics that I've also picked up. And then just one other thing that I did want to talk to you about was this garment planner pad that I've got. And this is from Creative Industry. They're on Instagram, and they have a website, and they kindly gifted me this pad just to try out and to pop it on my social media. So I have been kind of put it on my Instagram, but I thought I'd just mention it to you, because I have found it really handy, where you can just make notes for your pattern, because I'm terrible for writing things down when I make changes, and when I come to make it again I think, well, what did I do? You know, I can't remember. So I've now made more effort to start writing it down, and it gives you, you know, spaces to write what the pattern is, the size, and what haberdashery notions you've used, what width of fabric it is, and that kind of thing. And I just write down here any extra bits that I've changed, or that kind of thing, and then I staple the fabric to it, so a little swatch of fabric, so I know what I used and where I got it from. And I've also copied Tamlin of Sewn on the Tyne, the way that she packages up her PDF patterns. So I've been using these plastic wallets that you can get from Wilkinsons or Wilcos in the UK, and then I've just cut out the picture of whatever pattern it is and then put details on the back. And then inside, it's a Ziploc one, I've just put the PDF pattern pieces, and again I've just used that garment planner. You can see where I've attached the bits of fabric and wrote my notes on there, and I've just found that really, really helpful. And I like to keep things in order. And I mean, I'm one of these people that likes to write lists and things like that, so it's nice to tick things off and and things like that. Yeah, so, okay, one other thing I should have mentioned at the start of the video is you've probably noticed, you might not even be interested, but that my hair is a lot more curlier or poodle-like than when I last vlogged. And that is because I'm trying to make more of an effort to go with my natural curl, or more of a beach wave, considering I've given it the abuse over the years. And it's purely because my hair it's taken a battering since I was about 13 years old, so I'm trying not to straighten it as much. And I know I've got a straight fringe, and that's going to be there to stay. I cannot have curly fringe. But I absolutely love my hair in a straight bob, but it takes a lot for me to get it like that, so I have to use a hot air styler and straighten it as well. Yeah, and just the over processing has taken its toll, so I'm going to be trying to wear it curly a lot more often. It takes me a bit of a longer time to get it like this than it does just to blow it out and tie it in a ponytail. But yeah, so you'll see me a lot more like this, and I'm growing it as well because I think it looks better when it's longer curly. Yes, so, and the other news that I have is really, really sad, and that is that if you've been following me for a little while, you'll know that I've been training for the Leicester Marathon, and I really, really wanted to do it in my 40th year because I did it 10 years ago when I turned 30, and I've done it twice, and I've also ran the London Marathon as well. So I've been running since I was about 23, I think, and I've never, ever had an injury, ever. And I started back running last year after having my 3 children, and I've been fine up until recently after I came back off holiday, and I don't know what I've done, but I've got a bit of a hip issue to the point that I've had to pull out of the marathon, and I am absolutely gutted because I really, really wanted to do it, and I've been enjoying my training up until this point. And it was just after I come back off holiday, I went out for a run and I just felt a niggle, and I thought, well, that's a bit annoying, you know, what's that? And I just carried on running, and then it just got worse. And then every time I went out for a run, the niggle was there, and I just wasn't able to run continuously without stopping and trying to stretch off this niggly pain that I got. And then I went out, I think it was last Tuesday, I was planning on doing a 15-mile run. And it hurts more when I go upstairs or when I'm going up hills. And I was running up this hill and I felt it go. I don't know what I mean by that, but it wasn't like a crunch or a ping or anything like that. But it went from a niggly pain where I thought I could just continue and it was a little bit annoying, but I'll just stretch it off and walk when necessary, to the point that, ow, I can't run on that. That now hurts. And I tried to sort of continue a little bit to see, oh, you know, will it go away? And I'd actually taken some ibuprofen as well before I went out to see if that would help. But no, in the end, actually, I had to ring my mum, who was looking after the boys at that point, to say, can you come and collect me because I can't run back home? And there was no way I was going to be able to do that 15 miles. So I'd only gone 2.5 miles, hardly anywhere at all. So instead of pulling out completely, I've actually deferred my place to next year. So hopefully, whatever it is will heal and I'll be back into training and I will do it next year. But obviously a year is a long time to wait to do it. So I'm going to hopefully try and find another marathon that I can do sooner. And then definitely do the Leicester one next year, so fingers crossed. The only thing I've changed is my trainers, but that was for the good because my other ones, literally I had pounded the structure out of them and it was like running on concrete without any cushioning. And so these are really bouncy, but I don't think that that's caused the problem. I think it's because I've been sat in between 2 car seats all the way to Cornwall and back, and whilst we were on holiday I was in and out of the car, so overstretching my leg, I suppose, to get out of the car, and I think I've done something. So the pressure of those 2 car seats on my hips and getting in and out of the car at a funny angle, I think it's done something. So my friend Anna, she's really into her essential oils and she's given me a rollerball to try, plus some deep heat. I have obviously been told that I should really visit a physio, but I do actually have a doctor's appointment this afternoon, so I'm going to see what they say first. Fingers crossed it's nothing underlying, you know, underlying problem there, and it is just either a strain or a pulled or ripped tendon or something, but it does feel like it's on the bone. I don't know, it's really weird. When I'm lying in bed, I can feel it. So it's just not very nice. Yeah, so unfortunately I've had to pull out. So I'm absolutely gutted because I was really enjoying my training, running on the summer evenings and that kind of thing. And it was going fairly well. I'm never going to be back up to the speed that I used to be because I don't run half as much as I used to now. I have children, I just don't have the time. So yeah, unfortunately that's my sad news. So thank you to everybody who commented on Instagram where I announced it. Yeah, I'm not completely out, but I'm having a rest period and I hope to be back very soon into my running because I really enjoyed that time of free headspace as well, where I just was able to go out on my own for a bit. So I, you know, haven't been able to do that now for the last week or so, which is really disappointing. So anyway, we'll see what the doctor says and fingers crossed I can get back into it. So I'm going to be coming back to you then with a vlog also for the Ogden Cami sew along. So that's one that I'll be bringing to you next, and then the sewer top also vlog, and then my plans for the next few months. So it's not going to be like my September plans, it'll just be my plans for the future, and I'll give you a recap of my Mate 9 as well. So thank you very much for watching this vlog. Nice to be back, and I shall see you soon. Thanks a lot. Bye.